September 16th to order. And I will ask Rusha to give us a brief overview of the protocol procedures for electronic participation of members in the meeting. So over to you, Rusha. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rusha Khan, and I'm the committee clerk for the Region of Peel Accessibility Advisory Committee. I will provide a brief review of the protocols for electronic meeting participation. Recorded votes are not allowed at committee meetings. The committee chair or I will call for any objections. If you have any objection, please unmute your microphone and indicate your name and objection. If no objections are stated, the motion will be deemed to be approved. Members participating electronically that need to leave the meeting, please send an email to council@peelregion.ca. If you leave the meeting, you will be marked absent. If you would like to request to speak, please raise your hand in the WebEx meeting by clicking on the raise hand icon in your participant list next to your name. The speakers list will be determined based on members who have raised their hand using the icon. For a full view of the presentation, please use the stack or side-by-side layout. This meeting is being live streamed. In order to ensure that the meeting remains accessible to the public, the meeting will be recessed for 15 minutes in the event that the live stream is interrupted or fails. Staff will work to get the live stream up as soon as possible. We shall now commence the meeting with roll call. Citizen Member Shamila.
Yep.
Thank you. Citizen Member Carol Ann. Committee Chair Raj is present. Citizen Member Paula. Vice Chair Mary will be late to the meeting. Councillor Fortini. Councillor Groves.
Present.
Thank you. Citizen Member Naz. Regional Chair Yanika.
Here.
Thank you. Citizen Member Azar.
Yes, present.
Thank you. Councillor Mahoney.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Citizen Member Anu, Center regrets. Councillor Sinclair. Citizen Member Maureen.
Here.
Thank you. I will turn the meeting back over to our committee chair, Raj. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any declarations of any conflict of interest by any member? Hearing none, can I have a member to move the receipt of the agenda?
So move is Councillor Grove.
Thank you. Well, that takes us to go to our delegations. Point number 4.1. First delegation is by Rich Padullo, who is the founder of Treat Accessibility. And Mr. Padullo will be talking about the Treat Accessibility movement. Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Padullo, and it's all over to you. And you have about 10 minutes for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I had 2 glasses of espresso. I think I can do it in 1. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to the Peel region today. And first and foremost, what Treat Accessibility is intended to do is to get the general population supporting the accessibility community and accessible inclusion by converting their Halloween experience into curbside experience to remove stairs and other obstacles that typically stop or hinder children with mobility, sensory, or intellectual disabilities. I'll get into how it came about, but we are not a charity. We are not a nonprofit. We're a movement run by my 10-year-old daughter, my wife, and I'm the helper. We started in 2017, and as of today, I'm the proud dad of my daughter Sienna, who's 10, who won the Difference Maker Award. And I'll explain why in a bit, but she won the Difference Maker Award from the Rick Hansen Foundation for the Treat Accessibly program. We have now registered the movement in both Canada and the United States to expand upon it, and I'll share some of the expansions. And I'm an appointee to the Ontario Accessibility Advisory Standards Committee. I'm one of 12 private citizens, much like yourselves, who try to help expedite accessible inclusion. We can move to the next page, please. And I would like to thank Veronica for meeting with me in June and in helping me get to this point. My family were putting pumpkins on our lawn in 2017 when we saw a little boy using a wheelchair or using a wheelchair across the street with his family. And I was putting pumpkins on stairs, and it hit me like a ton of bricks that he wouldn't be able to treat at my home. So within about 10 minutes, I ran inside, shared that thought with my wife and daughter, and within 2 days, this was about a week before Halloween, we had a sign, a rudimentary version of what you're seeing in this picture. For those who may not be able to see it, it is an orange sign with a white iconic forward motion wheelchair symbol with a cape attached to the person in the wheelchair symbol blowing, and it says accessible trick-or-treating. Obviously, no one knew what that meant, yet 7 families with children with disabilities attended our home that Halloween because they saw the sign and it acted like a bat signal for them. They came. And I explained how it happened, and they told me they had never seen anything like that. And that shook me and my family to our core. If we fast forward to 2020, last year, there was 40,000 lawn signs out there. We had achieved over 40 million impressions from the press media, primarily television. And the 40,000 signs, free lawn signs, were delivered through Home Depots across the country to make it easy for pickup. So there's no cost to consumers. They can just go and grab it. This year, we've changed that quite a bit, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail, but we have a goal that by 2025, there's 400,000 homes participating in Treat Accessibly across Canada, because that is the number of children and youth with disabilities in our country. If we can move over to the next page, please. Thank you. And my daughter isn't stopping at Canada. She would like to be across North America. And as you can imagine, it's a multiple of 10 with our population variance. So we hope to be in 4.4 million homes across North America within the next 5 years. Again, 1 home for every child with a disability. We can move to the next slide. This is a small summary of what has occurred, and I'll go through it very quickly. As I mentioned, in 2019, we had 25,000 signs. They were produced by RE/MAX, and they were delivered to the consumer through a pickup stand at Home Depots, 168 across the country. And that's what generated the bulk of our television media support from mayors, premiers, and we had almost every national nonprofit in the accessibility space support us. This year, we've come back, and Halloween, hopefully we'll be back, and we have 14,000 free lawn signs being delivered through 900 RE/MAX offices and 12,500 agents in the Ontario, Atlantic, and Quebec region. Every RE/MAX agent has the ability to get someone a sign. It takes just a moment to thank them. We have Kinder Candy, who will be putting signage, creating 10,000 free lawn signs being made available at select Sobeys in Ontario. On Amazon is promoting the do-it-yourself Treat Accessibly sign that people can print off their store page on Amazon. This is Hasbro, the toy company, and again, totally free to the consumer. We're in planning with the Ontario Minister of Seniors and Accessibility for him to share a letter with all sitting MPs and to invite them to have a talk with their local constituencies and share the Treat Accessibly movement as a way to celebrate Halloween, not only because it supports the accessibility community as a whole, which is 6.2 million Canadians, but it offers curbside trick-or-treating, which would advance safety in our period of COVID times. I'm very proud of this next bit. We wanted to execute a pilot with the school. I've joined forces with the Rick Hansen Foundation School Program, who has created a curriculum that will be shared with 122 schools, grade 1 through 3, in the Peel Catholic School Board on October 7th. And then this is a top secret one. I'll go into it a little bit more detail later, but Canadian Tire is helping me create the very first Halloween Treat Accessibly Halloween Village, which will be a series of homes on October 2nd where we close down a street and let everybody treat from the street. And our special guests will be Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Center, as well as the children of Weston Village, in a by invitation only event, so we can share powers, have capacity restraints and social distancing friendly. I'll get into that one a little bit more later. We can move on to the next slide. Really, all I'm asking from the Peel region, and I know when you say all I'm asking is still a lot with everything that's going on in the world, is for support in creating awareness for Treat Accessibly Day on October 7th, which is intended to put Halloween accessibly on people's radars. It is the day that the schools will be teaching the lessons within schools, and it is the day, a few days after our Halloween Village event, so we will be publicizing that event, and hopefully media will attend it to share the concept of accessible trick-or-treating. We can move on to the next slide, please. That is my daughter, Sienna, and that is the t-shirt that she made. There's no can't in Canada, so we believe that in our household. Thank you. We can move on to the next page. Really, we ask for support in creating awareness for this movement. As I mentioned, the Peel Region Catholic schools are on board. The Peel Region public schools considered it Halloween to not be something that their children do enough for them to support it this year. So we are still excited about the Catholic school region jumping on board to champion the pilot. We also have a private school in Toronto with 2 campuses supporting the movement. We can move on to the next slide. This is just a little summary in the presentation about why we created the Halloween Village. I attended a Halloween event in Holland Bloorview's atrium in 2019, and the children, the bulk of them could not celebrate at home, so they celebrated at their local hospital, and that's why we have created the Halloween Village, not only to let the children have a Halloween outside of the hospital, but it is intended to be shot on video. So the partners that I shared before, Canadian Tire, Remax, and Kinder, will be paying for paid social media to share the concept of Treat Accessibly in the video that we capture, and the ask of the Holland Bloorview organization, families, and Treat Accessibly for people across Canada and neighborhoods across Canada to consider treating accessibly this year and in future. We can move to the next slide. And this is kind of just, in my mind's eye, this is what it will look like on October 2nd when we have the Halloween Village stunt for the children of Holland Bloorview. There might not be lightning, but we hope there will be just as many kids laughing and having fun. We'll move on to the next slide. And again, we're really just a family that are pushing this movement forward and getting incredible support from the organizations. When I mention these organizations, whether it is Brampton, Mississauga helping us, Peel Region helping us, Canadian Tire, Kinder, Remax, there's really just people there. And it's the people that have supported us so much. So I'd like to thank the Peel Region Accessibility Advisory Committee for showing their support and letting me speak today. And really and truly, my only ask is that you look to this movement to support it in your social channel and participate if you can. And if you can present it to other individuals that can share it further, that would be wonderful. And that is my only ask. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Padulo. Thanks a lot. I think it's a very unique concept that you have started, and also the timing of your presentation is just perfect with Halloween approaching. And I found it more interesting that you already have started with a good support of stakeholders like Remax and Canadian Tires and others. Having said that, we will now open ask members for any questions that they may have for you, especially Naz, Kareem, and Maureen. If you have any questions, please use this opportunity to ask Mr. Padulo.
Hi, Raj. So I do see Councillor Mahoney did have his hand up in the WebEx meeting, and Maureen has her hand up as well.
Okay, so we'll start with Mr. Mahoney.
Thank you, Raj. I think my dad's Mr. Mahoney, but that's okay. I don't have any questions, but I do remember, Rich, when you came to Mississauga AAC just before, actually just as we were getting into kind of COVID and understanding the protocols, and we weren't really sure how to support you and in your program, and not knowing how the new Halloween was going to work with the social distancing and all of those. So it's just nice to see you again, and it's really a great program. And congratulations to your daughter and to everybody for all the great work that they've put into it. And hopefully now that we are a little bit, I say unfortunately, a little bit more knowledgeable of COVID because we've been in it for so long, that we can do this with some distance. And it was nice to hear that you included that in your presentation this time. So like I say, I just wanted to congratulate you. I didn't have any questions, and say that I do remember the previous presentation that you made to Mississauga, and I know that we really kind of struggled with how we work with this because we weren't really sure how it was gonna play out. But I'd certainly be happy to help promote it on my social media channels and some of my networks out there, just to help promote the good work that you're doing, because really the ask is just to promote it, and it really is a good cause. So again, just some comments for you, Rich, and I appreciate you coming back, and nice to see you again, and again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. And may I ask Maureen for her question, please?
Yes, I have, first of all, wanted to congratulate you on this particular project. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to be involved with. I fortunately, unfortunately, live out in the country, so I don't get anybody for Halloween, but I do go to my grandchildren's homes up near Barrie, and was wondering, is there a possibility I would be able to get a sign and put it on my son's lawn in order to do that?
Absolutely. All REMAX agents, every office has received their signs already. If you go to our website, treataccessibly.com, you can find a button to find an agent in your area. You literally just click Ontario or Atlantic region, click it, you enter in the city, and it will give you a series of agents that you can get the signs from. It's pretty automated and pretty cool.
Okay, so also
they actually built it for me.
Wonderful. The other question I have is that the Peel area includes Mississauga, Brampton, and Caledon. I'm just wondering if you've been to the Caledon AAC or spoken to any members of council there.
That's so beautiful that you said that, and great timing. I think I spoke to them on Tuesday evening.
Okay. You
and
think
Brampton and Mississauga we've spoken to as well.
Okay, so you just think you spoke to the Caledon one, or you did?
We spoke on Tuesday.
Okay, perfect.
Or Tuesday, Monday, one or the other this week. But great timing, great question.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, and is there plans of going to our local papers and kind of putting in a plug there?
It's wonderful that you asked that. We put out press releases into the media to get local pickup, but we also ask the cities to engage their local media as well. As you can imagine, the three-person family running the movement, we're spread a little thin on the month of October. But it's always wonderful, and we'd speak to any media that we're involved with it, and we hope that they come to us to learn more.
Mm-hmm. And then my last question is if I know with this particular committee, you're asking us to support you. I did read through your presentation beforehand. I don't think I saw anything on volunteering. Do you need help from people?
That is such a beautiful offer. Truly, the beauty of this movement is to just bring it home. The most beneficial volunteer is just somebody that champions it happening at home and potentially sharing it on social. And that's kind of the beauty of the simplicity of this program and how it grows so quickly. But that if anybody wants to volunteer in any way, it's tell as many people as you can.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. You raised very good points about volunteering and about putting in the newspaper. I thought it was a great idea. In Mississauga News, again, it still goes to several households, so perhaps that is something Mr. Padula would consider. So I will now ask Naz, Kareem, and Maureen. Maureen, we have done it. Naz and Maureen, Kareem, do you have any questions for Mr. Padula, please?
Sorry, I'm fine. I don't have any questions. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Oh,
Thank you. Naz, are you there? Well, Naz was here in the beginning. So, Dusha, did she agree to stay in and participate? I realized there were some problems with her audio system.
Raj, I've reached out to Naz, so I'll wait for her to respond to me, but I see that Councillor Mahoney has his hand up.
Okay. Yes. Matt Mahoney, please. No more Mr. Mahoney.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry to jump on again, but I do know we have Commissioner Kent here, and I didn't know if he might be able to comment if it's appropriate that we could send this to communications at the Region of Peel and see if there might be something they can do to help promote it. Gary, I don't know if you're...
Certainly through you, Madam Chair. Yeah, we'll maybe hook you up, Rich, with Lisa Duarte, who's our Director of Communications. And I'm not sure we'll be doing print, but certainly on the social media side, we can maybe help out there. So they'll have some protocols and some questions, and then it seems like a great, simple idea actually. As someone who's able-bodied, so I'm sure we can do something for you there. So I've got your name, and I'll get Lisa to reach out to you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. That's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. I think it's a great suggestion. If there are no more questions, Dusha, do you see any more hands up, which I don't see?
No, I do not.
Okay. So thank you very much, Mr. Padula, for coming. And Mr. Kent has suggested some ways in which Region of Peel would be willing to help. And again, we all on our individual basis would be willing to help. So I would now ask a member to move the receipt of the report by Mr. Padula. Could I have Matt Mahoney please move the receipt of the report? Thank you, Matt. Now we move on to our next item on the agenda, the reports. The first report, item number 5.1, and this report is by Ms. Carolyn Smith and Mark Canteroni on the site plan review of the Peel Regional Paramedic Services satellite station located on 11801 Bramley Road in the city of Brampton. So they will be providing us a site plan review, and thank you very much for coming, Ms. Smith and Mr. Canteroni. Over to you, and just let you know at this point that you will have 10 minutes for your presentation. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And thank you also for Rich Padula for the presentation. When I received the agenda yesterday, I immediately shared it amongst our office, and we're going to do a little bit of a challenge to see who can make their home the most accessible this Halloween. So thank you for the great idea. It's wonderful to hear new ideas. Thank you for everyone for letting us describe our new paramedic station project. My name is Carolyn Smith. I'm the project architect at Hossack and Associate Architects. On the line, we also have Mark Centroni, who is the project manager of corporate services, real property asset management. We also have Brian Gibson, the Deputy Chief of Paramedic Operations, and Biljana Bajajic, the Senior Project Manager of the Region of Peel. This first slide is a rendering of the exterior concept of the new paramedic station. It is a mostly black charcoal colored station, and we have highlighted the entrance with a lighter gray stone and a wood canopy, and we have color accents to highlight main aspects of the building, including the truck bays and the main entrance. If you can proceed to the next slide, please. This slide illustrates the proposed site plan of the paramedic station. The main access entry point is off of Bramley Road. There's an interior driveway so that paramedic trucks can go around to the back station and have a full drive-through so they can quickly and easily exit the station if there's an emergency. There's parking on one side of the building, and there is a sidewalk which connects to the street and around to both the back, which is the staff entrance, and the front, which is the public entrance. There are curb recesses with tactile indicators at both the entrance points from the sidewalk. Across the driveway, there will be a painted strip, and also from the accessible parking space. We will be using the dynamic wheelchair symbol on the pavement marking, and there will also be a posted sign at the top of the parking space. Next slide, please. This slide describes the main accessible entrances and also highlights site lighting so that you can see how visible the entrances and the parking will be. There is site lighting on all sides of the access bays, on the side of the building with both the parking and on the green space side, and there is exterior site lighting next to each of the entrances. As I mentioned before, the front entrance is the accessible public entrance, and the back entrance is the accessible staff entrance. Next slide, please. This slide indicates the site plan and shows the accessible path of travel on the exterior. All path of travel is 1.8 meters wide, and it extends from the street, across the driveway, past the parking, and to both entrance points. Next slide, please. This slide illustrates the floor plan, and it shows accessible areas for staff. Staff accessible areas are all areas of the vehicle bays, all areas inside the workspaces. The only space in the building that is not accessible for staff are the service rooms, which would be for electrical and mechanical. Next slide, please. This floor plan indicates the areas that are accessible for public use. And because this is a working paramedic station, the only aspect of the building that the public will be entering is the front vestibule. So there is a 1.7 meter turning radius within the vestibule, and it has a level entrance. Next slide, please. This floor plan illustrates the location of the accessible washroom. This building has two washrooms. One is a barrier-free toilet room with both a 1.7 meter turning radius and a 2.1 meter turning radius. There's also another washroom which is gender neutral and is accessible for staff with auditory and visual impairments. Next slide, please. This is an enlarged floor plan of the washroom, and I'll correct myself before. There are two turning radiuses in this washroom. The outer one is a 2.44 meter diameter, and the interior is the 1.7 meter turning radius. So this, the door width is 1 meter wide, and there are clearance spaces in front of the sink and next to the toilet for transfer. Next slide, please. This slide is the typical Ontario Building Code and AODC mounting heights for all the accessories that will be included in the washrooms. Next slide, please. Are those all the slides you have? Yes, I believe this concludes the
Hi,
presentation and
Carolyn.
the slide deck. Hello.
Hi, just wanted to confirm that's the last of the slides that we have.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mark or Biljana, do you have anything to add?
It's Biljana Bajagic from just to.
Biljana, can you turn up your volume?
Sorry about that. Just to let you know that Mark Citrone wasn't able to attend the meeting, so if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to respond. This station is a typical satellite station for paramedics program, and we built a great number of them in the past 10 years. So we follow all the standards for accessibility and make the most we can of every site. Endeavor always to meet the maximum accessibility possible based on the site, what site allows. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I do see Azar's hand is up and Carolyn as well.
I can go ahead.
Yes, Azar?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I would specifically like to know some accessibility features that you've incorporated for low vision and totally blind people, like if there are any signages, are you using any braille to, highlight few things, or specific color contrast for low vision? So could you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, thank you, Azar. We have tactile indicators on sidewalks at curb cuts for visually impaired. We will also have tactile letters and braille, on main wayfinding signage, specifically at the washrooms. And there is color contrast within the kitchen area between the wall space and the countertops. There'll also be color accent walls behind the plumbing features in the washrooms to make those spaces easily understandable so that the washroom features are of high contrast in front of the colored wall behind.
Right,
Are there any
thank you.
specific areas that you want to know a little bit more information about?
I was wondering about if there are any stairs. Are they marked? I mean, the edges are marked for,
This is a very flat site, and there are no stairs into the building, in the building, or around the building.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the next question is by Carolyn. Lucia? Hi, thanks,
Yes.
Carolyn.
Hi, thank you. Great job. There are a few things I'd like to point out. Like you're saying, the color contrast in the kitchen area, but really color contrast should be carried throughout, especially in doorways.
Okay.
People with depth perception will have a lot of trouble. Where exactly is a door? Bang into it. And to be careful of using, say, silver on gray or white, because that isn't distinguishable to many people. The other comment, the coat hook. So it's approximately 3.5 feet or a little bit more, 1,000 from the floor. Now that's fine for somebody who is maybe very short or in a wheelchair. But if you're somebody who's tall, or you're wearing a winter coat, your coat could be more than 4 feet in length. And then if there's belts. So I've seen it where there isn't a second option for a higher coat hook, so that, people are not finding their coats on the floor next to the toilet, like it could be messy. We want to think inclusion, so we have to remember tall people also. The other thing is, oh, sorry, thank you. Where the garbage cans get placed. Many, many times, garbage cans are an afterthought, and they're put in, once again, right next to a coat hook. So imagine somebody blind, feels the coat hook, takes their coat off, but the bottom of their coat is in a garbage can, actually. Or it may be impeding reaching for the soap dispenser, etc. So I really think garbage cans, receptacles, they should all be considered in the plan, allocating space so that it's not an afterthought and now becomes a bit of an issue. And that's all my comments. Always remember, like AODA and OBC, they are minimum accessibility requirements. We don't want to make that the bar to reach. We want to make those the bar to start at and then improve from there. So that's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are excellent comments. I would like to point out, yes, we do have color contrast between the doors and the walls. I'm sorry I did not mention that previously. That's an excellent point about the coat hooks. We will make notes on the drawings to make sure to include both high and low. And we will see if there's any other amenities that would benefit from that high and low application. Biljana, maybe you can speak to the garbage cans and how you typically deal with those operationally in the stations.
We do have 3 inside the building. One is in the kitchen next to the counter where the microwaves are and the kitchen sink. And we have one in each bathroom. So they're placed close to where the paper towel dispenser is, or in the corner in the washroom that is not wheelchair accessible, so it's not in the way. So we do have 3, and they're not in the way of people walking or people in wheelchair or people who have visual support. So we kind of accounted for that, and I believe that we do have 2 hooks in one of the corridors leading to the garage that are higher than 3 feet. But we can add more where the rest of the hooks are because they're all located where the wall at the office is. So those are great points. We will definitely make sure it's all considered. The signage, we follow all the updated requirements for the accessibility, and also have the signage guidelines that were developed for paramedics. So they are applied in all facilities we built, and they get updated as we move up with from the minimum compliance with accessibility going always up, which is what the region does. We always go above and beyond what the minimum requirements are.
Thank you for your questions.
Are there any other questions, Rusha?
I see Maureen's hands up.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Maureen.
I can't hear Maureen's question.
We okay now?
Yes.
All right. I just wanted to thank you for bringing this the site plan to our attention. And I just wondered, out of general information, as to two questions. One is, who would typically visit the station?
Biljana, do you want to take the lead on that response?
So the satellite stations are allocated to ambulance staff dispatched at each shift, and they all gravitate to reporting stations for the area. So in Brampton, we have Fern Forest, that is more like East Brampton, and then we have reporting station north of Steeles on Mississauga Road, which is Rising Hill. And then in Mississauga, we have one at Tompkin, which is shared with the City of Mississauga Fire. And we have another one, which is the most recent reporting station. It's Streetsville Station at Thomas and Erin Mills Parkway. So paramedics come in the morning to their designated reporting station, where they get the ambulance truck. Usually there are two crews for a satellite station, and each satellite station that gravitates to the reporting station covers certain area of region of Peel. So the crew attends the satellite station when they have time in between the calls, where they can go and use the washroom, get something to eat, make coffee or tea, and then, just sit down and put their feet up, because we have recliners in the lounge. Most of the days they're just cooped up in that truck, so it gets really tough during day to kind of go through the day without anywhere, having a place to rest and take a break. They used to sit in plazas, just park in the ambulance truck, which was probably very hard for them. So now we have these satellite stations. So they don't actually have staff in satellite stations. This is just for periods where they don't have the calls, so they can actually go there and get a little bit of rest and break.
Biljana, who would
Supervisors?
you see coming, or public visitors?
Public visitors, if there is anything happening or public can see, actually our overhead doors are glazed. So sometimes members of the public, if they see the ambulance trucks inside, they will knock on the door and ask to visit, because it's like fire station. It's especially interesting for people and people with kids. And this particular station is located next to the commercial plaza with Walmart and banks and some fast food places. So kids usually are very curious and want to see, and also members of public. And if there are any events, they would be open to access. In terms of staff from paramedics and region, we also have supervisory staff from paramedics, and then we have our maintenance people who come from facilities, and also cleaners and external vendors. So those are all the people who come occasionally and scheduled to the station.
Okay, thank you very much.
There are no more questions. I would like to thank Ms.
See,
Smith
there's
and
a hand
Biljana.
up. I thought there was a hand up by someone named Nancy.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
My apologies.
Thank you. Through Madam Chair, you've just received a really great explanation of who would go in and out of the satellite stations, but I just want to clarify that the satellite stations are really for the purpose of the staff themselves, so the paramedics. It is very far and few between when we would get community members into the satellite station. it's not, the building is not necessarily for our community members, but is for our staff, in particular our paramedics. So I just wanted to make that element clear.
Thank you, Nancy.
Are there any other hands up, Trusha?
Hi, Raj. I don't see any hands up at this time.
Well, I would like to thank Ms. Smith and Ms. Biliana for the presentation and at the same time providing clarification to very relevant, valid questions. And I think you have made everything quite clear. And as I said in the notes, this facility meets or exceeds all the accessibility requirements. So having said that, I'll move forward that this presentation has a recommendation already made by here in front of us, and I'll ask Rusha to read the recommendations so all members can listen to it and make a proper decision. So Rusha, could you please lead the recommendation?
Thank you, Raj. I have a motion before me that the site plan for the Peel Regional Paramedic Services Satellite Station, identified in the report of the Chief Financial Officer and Commissioner of Corporate Services, listed on the September 16th, 2021 Region of Peel Accessibility Advisory Committee agenda titled Peel Regional Paramedic Services Satellite Station, 11801 Bramalea Road Site Plan Review be approved, and further, that notification of the site plan approval and resolution be provided to the local municipalities planning and building department. Can I please have a mover for the motion? I see Maureen, your hand's up. Thank you. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Motion is carried. Thank you, Rusha. And thanks the presenters again. Now we move on to the next item in the reports 5.2, which is an accessibility planning program update by Veronica, our specialist, AAC specialist with the region. So over to you, Veronica. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Can everyone hear me well?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So I just have a couple of updates to provide since our last meeting in May. I just wanted to start off by thanking members of the Region's AAC who attended the MetroLinks consultation session on July the 27th. There was good representation from our AAC, and thank you to those that were able to attend. Moving on, I wanted to confirm that the committee has, as a result of our ongoing efforts to ensure website compliance, we have a digital accessibility planning work group formed at the Region of Peel. The intent of this group is to have different areas of the organization working in a strategic manner to advance our accessibility mandate as it relates to digital accessibility, and at the same time ensure compliance with our legislative requirements. So speaking of compliance, I just wanted also to update you that this year we will be filing our compliance report with the province. The report is filed every 2 years, so the last one that was filed was back in December 2019. The report confirms if we are in compliance with meeting the requirements of the AODA. We are working diligently with internal pertinent areas in the organization to confirm different sections of compliance as it pertains to the legislation. I'll have a more detailed and updated report at our next AAC meeting in November. I also wanted to let the committee know that in October, we will be celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It's the first time that we are observing this month. We will be launching an internal campaign to increase awareness of the positive outcomes of hiring persons with disabilities, the benefits that they bring to the organization, and the positive impact on persons with disabilities. And obviously, it also contributes to a more inclusive and diverse workforce. So that will be the month of October. Now, you may recall at our last meeting, we did have a presentation by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce promoting their Discoverability Network. And the committee directed us to investigate a potential partnership between the Region of Peel and the Ontario Chamber of Commerce regarding joining the Discoverability Network program. So we have met with staff from HR who are supportive of exploring this opportunity, and we will be meeting with folks from the Ontario Chamber of Commerce in October. So I'll have more information on that at our next meeting. Also, I wanted to let the committee know of the upcoming public focus groups on the Region of Peel's age-friendly planning. So the Region of Peel is preparing for a significant increase in population of adults aged 65 and older in the coming years. As part of the work to plan for an age-friendly community, we are reaching out to community stakeholders such as seniors organizations and AACs to request their participation in focus groups. Through these focus groups, we will be able to gather feedback and discuss opportunities and challenges in the Region of Peel as an age-friendly community. So I will be sending out more information through an email following this meeting to the committee, including the dates of the focus groups. And I welcome everyone to join in these focus groups. And Madam Chair, that concludes my updates. I'll take any questions at this moment.
Thanks, Veronica. It's a great update. I'm glad to hear that we are finalizing or working with our relationship with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce with regards to the Discover Disability Network. So we look forward to the next meeting where you can provide more information. And also the October month, as you said, you will be, this is a month for celebrating the employment, those employers who have been who have been more inclusive in their hirement. So it will be an interesting month as well in terms of gaining more information. Having said that, I will ask members if they have any questions.
Raj, I see Shamila's hands up.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let me say that it's a great plan for the rest of the year. We have a lot of good things to look forward to with this hardship of this pandemic going around. Keep at the accessibility and to contribute our services to accessibility. AAC, it's a great privilege and good presentation, Veronica. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Rusha?
I did see Carol Ann's hand was up for a brief, maybe half a minute, and it's back down. So just want to make sure if you had any questions.
Sorry about that. I think I hit the button twice, went up and down. Great report, Veronica. Excellent work you're doing. I just wanted to ask about, are we thinking of any plans for IDPD Day, December 3rd?
Yes, we will be commemorating IDPD, and I will be reaching out to the members that are in the planning working group. So more information will come on that. I did include that in my report, by the way.
Oh,
forward. Yeah.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with everyone again on commemorating that day.
Excellent. Great work. Thank you.
If there are no more questions, Veronica, I again have one more question which I would like to ask with regards to digital accessibility. You mentioned earlier that you're working on that. So my question was related to the fact that in the December 21st report that you'll be submitting to the province, by that time, would we be in fully compliance with the requirements for digital accessibility? Because I recall that we, along with several other municipalities and regions, had asked for some extension to finish the work on digital accessibility. Thank you.
Yes, if you recall, we did reach out to the provinces early this year. The compliance deadline was January 1st of this year. Unfortunately, we did not receive a response with regards to an extension. I know through my network of accessibility professionals, we are all scrambling. Municipalities are scrambling to get up to speed with our requirements as far as digital accessibility. We do have the compliance report at the end of the year, and one of the questions is if we are in compliance with those requirements. I'm still working internally with, the various folks, including the people in our digital web team. And we will be providing finalize on our answer because we're still working away. We don't know as of yet what point we'll be at that moment. But whatever we respond to will be transparent and we will be truthful in our response to the province. It is a great, a massive undertaking. And like many municipalities, digital accessibility goes beyond just meeting certain requirements. Obviously, we are of the mindset we could say we're accessible today. And then there is a component of even one web page that gets uploaded with an error and it takes us back to non-compliance. So we are of the mindset that digital accessibility goes beyond just meeting, compliance in a set point in time. It's an ongoing effort. There's more involved. There's education. All of these things that we are currently undertaking at the region, like I said, through our digital accessibility working group, we are tackling all these things because it's more than just meeting web compliance. It's obviously a whole initiative that goes above and beyond as far as accessibility is concerned. We want to ensure that there's a user end experience for everybody. So yeah, those are just part of the struggles that we are facing, but we're working on it, and you will see that come back to our November meeting.
Thank you very much, Veronica. I must say that you're doing an excellent job, and also the contribution of all the members in achieving accessibility in the region is greatly appreciated. So I would ask now a member to move the
Raj,
receipt
sorry
of
to
Veronica's
interrupt.
report.
Sorry, Raj. Azar's hands up.
Oh, my apologies, Risha. Let's go ahead, Azar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, since you were talking about digital accessibility, I thought I should ask Veronica. Thank you, Veronica, for a good presentation and great work that your team is doing. I just wanted to have an overview. When we talk about digital accessibility, what are the major areas that currently you're working on? I mean, it's not just website. So could you give us some key areas that are focus of your works at the moment?
Yeah, we're still obviously the website is a huge component because the compliance is specific to all of our websites. In addition to the websites, we're working on that digital customer experience, so ensuring that our clients have, an enhanced customer service experience. We will be having a presentation at our next AAC, specifically as related to digital accessibility and all the work that group is doing. So we'll bring that back to November.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Risha?
No, I don't see any hands up at this time.
So once again, thank you, Veronica, for an excellent job doing, and all the members for their great input. And I will request a member to move the receipt of Veronica's report. Carolyn, can you move the receipt of Veronica's report?
Sorry, yes, I was using the hands up. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Unfortunately, I don't see the hand, so that's fine. So thank you very much, Veronica, again. So moving along to other business, it's my turn to provide a very brief review of status of the draft health standards that the ministry has been working on. As I said earlier, that I was a member of a 17-member committee established in 2017. And since then, we have working on designing this draft health standard specifically for hospitals. It will be restricted only for the hospital, not for long-term care or any other health agencies. And at the previous meetings, I have reported that we finished our draft report and it was released for public input in the month of May. And the consultation's last date was sometimes until end of August. But in view of COVID-19 interference and other lockdown procedures and other things, the ministry extended the date until September 13th. And I believe we had informed all the members. So at this time, the consultations have been completed. And I'm pleased to share with you, as I have been told by the ministry staff, that we have received excellent, a lot of wide variety of public input, written submissions, verbal reports, comments from all sectors of our society, including the disability organizations, disability or individuals, health experts, medical hospitals, institutions, and anyone else who was interested, as you know, that health affects all of us and all kinds of persons with disabilities. So the good news is that the draft report has been excessively read by a large sector of our society, including the persons with disabilities and the medical experts. So now the committee will be meeting in the month of October, sometimes in the end of October, to review all the public input. And from then on, we'll decide uh, we'll, we'll decide what to accept and how to incorporate the public input into the final report. So at this time, the timeline has not been determined because we haven't seen at this point in time the extent of public input and the written submissions we have received. But the ministry is hoping that we'll treat it as a priority, and maybe by end of this year or early next year, we will try to complete and prepare the final report and submit it to the Minister of Accessibility. That was our responsibility. So hopefully we can meet with this timeline. Unfortunately, the COVID and pandemic interfered in posed many difficulties and delayed the work of the health standard. But finally, we are trying to reach our final outcome, and I'll keep you informed as maybe at the November meeting is said there's something to report back, I will report. Otherwise, when the final outcome is produced, the final report is produced and submitted to the minister, I'll keep the members informed. So if there are any questions, I'll be very happy to respond. Thank you. So any questions, Risha?
I do see Shamila's hands up in the WebEx meeting.
That's okay.
That was a mistake. Sorry. Kind of trying to learn the app a little bit more. Sorry, Raj. Apologies on me.
No problem.
I think about the presentation.
Oh, thank you. If there are no more questions, Risha.
Yep, I don't see any hands up.
So we will. Okay, so this concludes our meeting. So I will explain to you our next meeting would be on.
Raj, can we have someone move receipt, please, for your oral update?
Sorry. I'm sorry, my apologies.
That's okay. Maureen, I see your hands up. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Switch button.
Thank you.
Voiceover off.
So our next meeting.
Raj, I believe you're muted. Raj, we're going to send you an unmute request. Okay, so Raj, we're not able to hear you. So what I'll do is I'll just take over where Raj left off. So our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, November 18th, 1:30 till 3:30 p.m. Also, it's time for adjournment. So if I can have someone please move adjournment. Perfect, thank you. The meeting has been adjourned. Thanks. Hi, Raj, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. It was by mistake, but I was pressed. So thank you very much for concluding the meeting. So we'll see. We'll have a meeting next time in person or through the electronic process. So have a good time by that time, and thank you again for your active participation. And thanks, Rusha, for your help. Thank you.
Anytime. Thanks, everyone.